A bunch of high schoolers are getting a gene injection today. They will each get a special shot filled with the ancient DNA of every magical beast that has ever lived. Once the injection takes hold, a student's body will suddenly soak up a wild, random gene and burst into life as a fierce beast. The professor tells them not to panic after the shot but to stay calm and welcome the rush of power. The students are so shocked by their new strength that they can barely keep from falling apart. But when Yi shot himself with the serum, nothing happened at all, and even the professor thought it was a bad mistake. One of the girls bursts out laughing right at him. But the moment she steps closer to tease him, a strange feeling washes over him. Instead of getting just one gene, he is handed an endless blueprint for monsters that lets him pick up the powers and tricks of every beast. Suddenly, a burst of power surges through him, sending his bully flying backward and leaving every other student frozen on the ground. They stand stunned at his incredible power, realizing that the boy they all labeled a total loser now holds everyone else under his feet. Suddenly, a voice crackles over the loudspeaker, shouting for every student who is woken up to head straight to the testing building right now. Now the machines dive into their magical beast genes and martial arts to show just how powerful each student truly is. One by one, students reveal their test results until Shin Yuan steps up and awakens the Swift Spine Bug, a third-tier bloodline that floods him with speed and strength, instantly shooting him to the top of the class. Su steps forward to wake the legendary Ice Demon Dragon, and the teachers immediately see him as the class's shining star and tomorrow's champion. Then Miss Lu is summoned, awakening a stage for Nether Sparrow bloodline so mighty it can level a city, a power that only grandmasters can withstand. Meanwhile, Yi looks at his own awakening details again and worries that his beast has a strange letter rank while everyone else is ranked by stage, so he knows something isn't right. Finally, his name is called, and while the students expect something big from him, he steps into the testing chamber. Inside the testing chamber, Yi feels a heavy pressure weighing down on him. The other students felt it right away and started whispering, thinking he was about to reach the next stage. But as the results appear on the screen, confusion takes hold because most of Yi's data is hidden, showing only the bare essentials. The beast blood in his veins was a mystery, yet his martial strength was clearly marked as a mere third-stage disciple. As whispers spread through the room, students burst into laughter, mocking his poor result and calling him useless while sneering that the unknown beast label just proves he's an average failure. But Yi clearly understands what is happening. His system is totally different because the testing machine can't read his infinite monster template, which grows stronger through quests and reputation instead of following the usual stages or bloodline ranks. Yi smiled, realizing his power wasn't weak but unique, allowing him to draw endless monster templates and grow without limit until he could rule them all as king. A few days later, Yi asks to study from home. His teacher frowns, convinced Yi is just looking for an excuse to cut class. Yi admits he's far behind and needs more time to train so he can finally pass. But his teacher warns him that raw power isn't enough without a strong foundation and suggests he repeat the year to try again next time instead of risking failure. Yi won't give up. His bright eyes plead for a chance, promising that his bloodline will let him succeed. And after seeing his true heart, the old man finally agrees but warns him not to get too hopeful before he heads straight to the Anchuan Warrior Center. As he walks, he tells us that an insurance payout and a mortgage on the family home gave him over $1 million to get started. Now he stands at a crossroads. Become a warrior or find a way to match the Demora template, and suddenly he spots something new. The system reveals that Demora has 3 compatibility points, 2 more than the standard version. This small detail catches his eye, making him weigh every possibility until he realizes the gene serum he took earlier must have altered his template, giving him 2 extra compatibility points. This changes everything because if these serums make him work better with his own body, then hunting them down might be a smarter move than grinding through warrior training. With this quicker, cleaner path perfect for an infinite monster template, Yi gets excited and rushes into the facility to buy a gene enhancement serum. He swipes his student card to get past the gate and walks inside. The moment he steps inside, something snaps his attention right away. The room is so full of powerful fighters that Yi can feel the dark, beast-like energy surrounding each one, knowing they are all awakened warriors who have already unlocked their bloodlines. Since waking up the Mad Flame Demora template, he now wields a special power called the Life Magnetic Field that lets him sense living things and feel their energy. So he can clearly feel the heat and pressure rolling off every awakened warrior nearby. His blood burns with the wild, hungry fire of a beast king who must crush everyone in his path to conquer the world, even though he knows he is still weak, because that instinct is too deep to ignore, and one day he will rise above them all so the world can finally see the true power of the King of Beasts. Suddenly, a tap on the shoulder startles him, and a stylish woman standing behind him teases him for staring so openly. He quickly apologizes, but the woman waves it off, saying it's normal for new awakeners to lose control at first, so she agrees to help him find the gene medicine, though she warns that while it works, It's expensive and the body builds resistance over time, so it should only be used when regular training hits a wall and can't carry you further. Iha asks how much it costs, and he learns that at his current level only beginner potions will work, each running about 400,000 yuan. A price tag that leaves him realizing he simply can't afford the 5 doses he needs. He asks for a discount, but the woman laughs and gives him her card, telling him that as a tough warrior he can get one just by using her name to refer himself. Yiho waves goodbye with a grin while his friend smiles back and wishes him luck, but somewhere nearby, a silent watcher with glowing blue eyes locks eyes on Iha, ready for what's next as he first grabs his last bit of money and then heads to the warrior's weapon shop. Even though the weapons cost a fortune, he simply has no choice but to buy them. After a long day of spending, he finally injects himself with all the serum he bought. As strange effects hit him, his stats shoot up one by one until his body screams from the strain, but just when every muscle feels like it's on fire, he finally levels up and feels pure joy, because for the first time he truly believes he can conquer the college entrance exam. But even with a cheat-like power, it's useless if he can't beat the world's true geniuses, so he turns his eyes toward the secret realms, otherworldly zones ranked by danger from the safe E-class up to the terrifying S-class. The S-class realms hide monsters so strong that if they ever broke free, the world would end. But today Yiho steps into Anqing number 3, a safe E-class zone just for beginners. He walks to the counter, signs the standard waiver, and gets his ticket to enter the afterlife. Soon after, he stood in front of the kingdom's glowing door, and his wish to win was locked in place. He's about to take the throne as the king of all beasts. With that, he dashes into the glowing rift and dives right into the surging energy, while on the other side, Iha lands like a hero. The realm stretches out forever, dotted across the stars of Konglin, Anhui, and Taijin. He has read about places like this before, but seeing it with his own eyes is something else entirely. It is absolutely breathtaking. As he gazes in wonder at the view, a red beast watches him from the shadows. A blade-fang rabbit crouches low in the grass, ready to spring. As the beast lunges, Ihi doesn't flinch. He snatches it out of the air with one hand, slams it down, crushes it instantly thanks to his life force and Demora's special senses, and then checks the rabbit's magic core, figuring it's worth about 1,000 yuan. For just a few seconds of hard work, he earns more than some people make in a whole week, but he knows this fast pace won't take him far because low-level skills just won't be enough. It's time to hunt something stronger, and suddenly a massive figure blocks Ihi's path. It's a second-rank demon corpse bug, exactly the kind of opponent he came here to face, so he grips his blade and gets ready to fight. He digs into his memory to remember the monster guide's facts and aims right for the beast's soft belly. The demon corpse bug shoots back with a swirling blast of energy. Ihi gathers all his power and sends a roaring wave of martial energy surging forward. He fires a mighty beam of energy straight at the monster to stop it in its tracks. Before the dust even settles, a new monster crawls out of the shadows and starts shooting spinning purple balls from its mouth. Ihi's eyes go wide when he sees the creature's jaws can shoot deadly blasts from far away. A bullet hits him hard and knocks him flying backward. He clenched his teeth in frustration at the damage and ruined clothes, realizing his skills couldn't match this beast. So he blamed his weak foundation for letting him down when it mattered most. With no choice left, he awakens the mad flame Demora bloodline, becoming the Emperor Demon. His body bursts with energy, and his strength surges from 15 all the way up to 31. Power surges through his limbs as the furious demon bug lets out a roar, ready to charge again. The monster lunges forward with wide jaws, but Ihi drops low and dives toward his enemy with energy crackling around his claws. He hits with the strength of a wild beast and clears out the second-tier demon corpse bug in one smooth move. Even with heat still radiating from him, Ihi checks the damage. The poison is eating away his sword, so he grumbles about how the weapon is a scam before his hunger makes him spot the delicious green magic core from the monster he just killed. Even though he knows it's dangerous, he still swallows the stone. The moment he swallows it, energy explodes inside him, racing through his limbs while the system flashes an update that his link to the Mad Flame Demola template has grown stronger. You see, even cheap magic cores can boost compatibility better than expensive potions. That stone gave him the same powerful boost as 4 pay-to-win gene potions, and he couldn't believe how much money he'd wasted on them. That is when Yiha decides to hunt all night to make up for the losses. He flips on his personal magnet, shoots out a quick pulse to check around him, and zeroes in on anyone or anything close by. By the next afternoon, his compatibility had climbed to 9% and his stats to 15.8. So he stopped eating the useless white cores and sold them all, leaving the receptionist staring at the mountain of stones on the counter in total shock. It's crazy that a high schooler is taking on this many classes, but Yiha follows the rules and gets 200,000 credits for the sale. With only 9 days left before the big exam, the secret D-class realm in Anqing number 4 opens its doors to everyone. A small group readies themselves to hunt down the high-value blood jade flower. But they're missing a teammate because old Chen's injury left their group short-handed. One of the guys, Lin He, tells the group he's already called an agency and a new martial artist has arrived. And there stands Yiha in disguise, boldly confirming his fake identity as Dad's Law, a powerful level 9 martial disciple. Turns out he bought a fake ID from a shady dealer for 100,000 credits to join the mission, so when the others heard his name, they were confused, but Yiha just laughed and said it was a legal copy. Lin He gives him a sharp look, warns him not to slow the team down since he's too weak to be a liability, but lets him tag along as long as he stays quiet and watches everything carefully. My guy is ready to do whatever they ask, and soon the whole group drives their vehicle through a shimmering portal into a secret realm, hunting for the blood jade flower. They are marching toward an oasis where a blood jade flower waits, guarded by a fearsome Tier 2 monster with an elite bloodline, while Iha scans the barren desert landscape, noting how it lacks the lush rainforest he explored before. Suddenly, a horde of sand-dwelling demon rats exploded from the ground and started running after them. The captain shouts for Hood to act, and without hesitation, the man draws his blades to cut down the closing rats with deadly speed. As the car races across the desert, the rats get torn apart one by one, turning into dust right in the middle of the chase. Once it's done, Hood calmly says the threat is gone, while Iha watches from his seat, quietly thinking about how efficient and deadly Hood fights. Out there, the desert goes on forever under a sky full of glowing planets, with a green oasis in the middle that probably hides the blood jade flower, so the team keeps walking through it. Iha asks why they won't use the vehicle to move faster, but Lin He explains that the engine noise would wake up the monsters nearby, so they must travel in silence from now on. As they move, Xiao Sha tosses a stun grenade, Wu and Hood set up traps, Old Lu holds the line with gunfire, and Lin He charges the front. Iha is told to stay back and watch while my guy quietly agrees and keeps it simple. Then they spring their plan into action by throwing a stun grenade that releases a cloud of pheromones to lure monsters, which answers the signal with a roar as a powerful Tier 2 Earth dragon charges out of the smoke. Lin He slashes his sword into the dragon, sending the headless beast crashing down as the team cheers his victory. Now that the matter is settled, he moves ahead right away, but suddenly a giant claw from the Earth dragon crashes down from above. Before disaster strikes, my guy springs into action, landing a heavy energy punch right into the beast that shakes the ground with explosive force. Everyone stood in shocked silence, unable to believe that a martial arts beginner just knocked a powerful Tier 2 monster to the ground with one punch. They all cheer for the winner and praise the champion, but my guy just shrugs it off like it didn't matter. Lin He raises the dragon's core to seal their win, while his teammates huddle together to marvel at the red soul essence they just pulled from the beast. The captain feels thankful because they beat the Earth dragon and now have its blood. Before anyone could answer, a sharp blade cuts straight through the captain's back. It's Hood who sold them out, leaving the team frozen in shock as Lin He turns with a pained look and pulls his sword to demand why Hood did this. Then a huge, bald man with a skull belt and thick fur collar steps forward. Ihi's teammates instantly know he's the legendary thief Wapang who steals from martial artists, but Lin He suddenly stumbles from a poisoned blade, growling in pain and wondering how even the bald man knew where the secret dungeon was hidden. That's when He finally sees the truth. The blades Hood used to kill the hounds held a hidden secret that someone had carefully planted. Watching how clever our boy is, Hood smirks and teases him to quit chasing death and head back to school instead. My guy stands his ground, promises to take first place in the upcoming exam, and then catches the poisoned daggers thrown at him barehanded before burning them away with his blue aura. Seeing this, Huapang's interest grows in our boy, while Hood goes wild and launches a storm of daggers at his enemy. He pushes back with a sudden burst of burning power, giving it all he has. Suddenly, Hood disappears and reappears right behind our boy to unleash his deadly move, Mountain Splitter. Yiha shouts with a crackle of electricity and shoots a sharp bolt of power straight through Hood's heart. When the coward finally crashed to the ground after just one hit, Captain Linny and the crew were left speechless. The new guy just knocked out Hood with one hit while my character watches enemies fall from the sky, leaving Huaping shaking in his boots and begging to know which powerful family he belongs to. He knows the gene trick immediately, and Yiha replies with a cool laugh, claiming he's from the Damanra clan while cuttingly mocking Huaping's growing desperation. The enemy roars in victory and sheds his human shape. He has unlocked his bloodline power, becoming the terrifying Tyrant Terror Black Bear. His muscles swell and his body mutates into a towering beast. Then he uses the martial technique Peak Shaker to charge forward. Yiha hits the beast's legs first, but Huapeng answers with a spinning punch that slams down so hard it sends rocks flying everywhere. My guy stops playing around and ends it all with a single, earth-shattering punch that leaves his enemy completely unable to fight back. His teammates stand far away, stunned and trying to make sense of what they just saw. The martial arts beginner just took out a giant, and the injured villain hisses out a final curse, calling Yihe's secret power dishonorable and vowing that he will get his revenge someday. Yihe doesn't need to speak because his blazing blue fist is more than enough to silence him. Next, the story jumps to the big arena in City as a huge martial arts tournament gets underway. Cheers rise from every corner as flags wave and lights flash, marking the start of this year's entrance exam, which follows a knockout format. Students pair off to fight, and only the ones who win 3 straight battles get to move on to the finals. Perched at the top of that bracket is the title for the highest score, while the announcer in the booth gets the crowd excited by reminding them that these students are the key to humanity's survival, and every punch they throw holds more weight than just personal ambition. As the big entrance exams get underway, the stadium explodes with action while students in Arena 1 pour their all-out strength into every clash and sharp hit. In Arena 4, another fierce fight is already raging with no sign of stopping. Now the spotlight moves to Arena 6, where a lone fighter named Huang stands on the platform, waiting for her opponent. The announcer tells the crowd that Huang has arrived, but her opponent, Yihe from Anqing Middle School, is still nowhere to be seen, leaving the match at risk of being cancelled, while the woman, fueled by past humiliation and ready to take revenge with her fire lizard, watches the students and spectators mock Yihe for being a coward for not showing up. The referee lifts his hand, ready to officially declare the game forfeit. Then everyone sees the sky starting to change as a bright blue streak slices right through the clouds. Our boy drops from the sky like a blazing meteor and crashes onto the arena floor with such force that the ground shakes and dust flies everywhere. Huang stumbles backward from the blast, too shocked to understand what's happening. Amidst the smoke, Yihe springs into action and drives his foot hard into Huang's face. That one kick sends her soaring into the air and flying across the platform. After knocking out his opponent, my guy acts totally cool to farm some extra aura. Huang lies defeated on the ground as the announcer calls Yihe the winner, and the crowd cheers wildly for his strength and the legendary sky kick that ended the fight. All while our boy's power comes from the blood jade fruit the captain gave him after saving their lives back then. Just as we thought, the tournament bracket changed and Yihe moved on to the next round, where he is now set to play against Long Tao. But once again, my guy knocks out Long Tao from Anqing No. 4 Middle School with a blast of blue energy. In this round, Yihe knocks out another middle schooler, clinching another win as the crowd cheers his unstoppable kick that has made him a one-hit wonder. After winning 3 times, Yihe passes the first round and steps into the 3rd round of the tournament. Before him, university scouts crowd in, praising him and offering scholarships, but surrounded by all the officials, Yihe stays calm, answers their questions one by one, and declares that he is heading to Huadu University. Some nearby voices question the decision, warning him not to be overconfident. Huadu is a top martial arts school where admission is tough, but my guy is so determined to beat them all and take first place using only his strength. Soon, officials stepped up to him and asked him to try again to show off his fighting skills. Of course, the results shocked everyone, because Yihe's cultivation stage leaped from 3rd to 9th in just half a month, and my guy spun a tale of training inside a dangerous secret realm, driven by his father's final message. The crowd freezes in shock as the news flashes through the room. Yihe has already shattered his genetic chains. Right after the officials rush away to share the news, Yihe quickly realizes that all this sudden attention isn't making him happy. While other students get ready for their games with family cheering them on, Yihe stands all alone, silently realizing no one is there to support him. With no parents and no friends in the crowd, the feeling settles deep in his chest, and he realizes he is truly alone. But it looks like he's got it all wrong, because his teacher is watching the game on TV and giving a little cheer to Yihe. Yihe steps into the arena, feeling completely ready to take on his next big fight. His opponent is Luo, a tough fighter from a powerful family with a special bloodline that makes him strong. The jerk laughs at Yihe the second they meet, but my guy stays calm, knowing the fight will be won by who is stronger, not by who talks the best. As the fight starts, Luo powers up his special ability and slashes with a dashing lightning claw, but the attacker just calmly holds up a hand to stop him, sneers at the weak punch, and twists Luo's arm until it breaks and Luo screams in pain. Yihe grabs him and hurls him down so hard the floor cracks right under him. Once more, the announcer shouts that Yihe has won, leaving the host completely stunned. Luo, one of the tournament's top seeds, didn't land a single hit. Online fans went wild with excitement, cheering on Yihe for his cool attitude and unstoppable power as they declared him a true master. The crowd in the stands cheers wildly for the one-kick man, sure that he will make the final round. As Luo is wheeled away on a stretcher, a new rival watches him from across the arena. He looks at Yihe with pride and quietly decides he will face him in the final. The admissions office at Huadu University spots the clues about Yihe and immediately launches a full investigation into his past. While other matches go on in arenas nearby, the second group moves forward and Shaoling, the queen of Anqing's second senior high, walks into the arena under the bright spotlight. Standing right across from her is Lu Qingzhu, the quiet and graceful girl everyone calls the unattainable flower. Everyone knows how fierce their rivalry is, so the crowd leans forward with bated breath as the match is about to start. The referee blows the whistle, and Xiaoling surges forward with a taunt, closing the gap right away. Lu Qing stays silent and instead unleashes a mighty martial art. A huge burst of power shoots from her hand and smashes right into her opponent. The blast throws Xiaoling into the air, but she lands on her feet and immediately uses her howling gale step to strike back. Lu drops her stance, creates a swirling energy field to catch her opponent's hand, and finishes him with a strike from her powerful chaos finger technique. Seeing this, the announcer is shocked and shouts that Lu Qing has unlocked a rare martial skill that few students ever master. Xiaoling snaps into action, her awakening transformation rushing to life the moment she hears him. The Shadow Claw Tiger King bursts from her bloodline, using its power to leap back and put space between herself and her opponent. Now that she has shown her own, she demands to see Lu Qing's true bloodline, the Nether Phoenix. Lu Qing stands her ground, claiming she could easily win without even needing to unleash the power of her Nether Phoenix. The Tiger Girl feels humiliated, so her anger boils over and she unleashes all her power. Lu Qing responded in kind, unlocking the Lu family's hidden power. The fight starts as Xiaoling unleashes the tiger's deadly kick, pouring all her power into one crushing blow. Lu Qing shoots back a blazing burst of power from her chaotic jade finger. The two ways of doing things bump right into one another. Energy snaps through the air as their powers crash together. Nobody in the crowd knows who is winning right now. As the noise fades into silence, Xiaoling stands alone in the dusty air, looking like he has won. But something feels off, and then a sharp wave of pressure crashes over her. Before she can even move, her legs turn to jelly and she falls from sheer tiredness, while Lu Qing stays standing as the referee steps in to crown her the winner. As the news spreads and online viewers gasp in shock, it turns out Lu Qing has awakened a super rare 4th-tier Nether Phoenix bloodline. As the fights get tighter, the tournament gets ready to pick the top 8 fighters for the next round. He steps up to pick his spot and pulls slot A for the next round. Soon, his rival from Qingfang Private High, named Shen, is introduced and also placed in Group A. Since they're fighting in the next round, Shen tells them to stick around for the first match. In the arena, Luo lies on the ground, crushed by his foe, even though his energy control is sharp and precise, built for high-tier combat. He watches carefully and finally sees that the mysterious winner is his classmate Chu Jiao. The principal is furious when his school's rep loses in the first round, and he turns to Shen to ask how he stacks up against Luo. Shen steps forward with a proud grin, declaring that he leads the martial arts club and that not even 2 of his own teammates could stand a chance against him. He admits that our boy is the only real challenge he's facing in this year's entrance exam. He paints Yiha like a sleeping volcano that's secretly hiding a scary monster underneath. With no time to speak, Shun signals that it is their turn, and the second match of the top 8 tournament begins. Yiha steps onto the battlefield to face Shin, and the announcer's call for the start brings them crashing together in an instant where their powers surge with equal force. The crowd holds its breath as the action explodes back and forth. My guy isn't moving slow, he's actually made this guy bleed from the nose. Shin then decides to take it seriously and wraps himself in a strong shield of fighting power. Yiha keeps his eyes locked on Shin's power, ready for whatever happens next. His opponent finally strikes, awakening his clan's dragon martial art and summoning a blazing beast to the fight. The beast roars and lunges forward just as Shin strikes back with a blow so fierce it shatters everything in its path. There wasn't even time for our boy to react before a powerful blow knocked him out of the air. As he spits out blood and gets shoved backward, the whole arena shakes from the crash. That jerk grabs Yiha by the scruff and starts pummeling him without stopping. After they beat our boy so badly, that bastard is now having a grand time. Emergency medics sprint toward the stage, ready for the worst as Shin keeps attacking without stopping. Suddenly, the air shifts and something stirs deep within the battlefield as a massive wave of blue energy explodes outward from Yiha, shaking the entire arena to its core. My guy is practically a monster now, with scales and crackling lightning all over him, his bloodline change finally done. The commentator is completely stunned because seeing a high school student turn into a full beast is practically impossible. The transformed fighter steps forward, his heavy power radiating from him, while an elder examiner watches the scene closely and spots something strange. Yiha's core energy is shooting up into the sky. A shield springs up instantly to trap the burst of radiation exploding from his body. The crowd is going wild watching Yiha's bloodline awaken in a way they've never seen before. My guy smirks in his awakened beast form, knowing that nobody on this planet gets what he's become. Across the arena, Shun starts bleeding again because Iha's overwhelming energy is too much for his body to hold. So he transforms right back. Suddenly, a beast made of golden fire bursts into view, burning up the air where it lands. Both start gathering power for their final martial arts moves. My guy strikes first and blasts his opponent's hand to pieces. It's obvious who's winning, and our guy can't wait for his opponent to see it. Shun begins to realize that Iha's power has become too wild to control since his awakening. My guy doesn't hesitate, diving straight back in to unleash a non-stop flurry of blows that hammer into Shun without stopping. Both fighters keep going hard, with Shun giving it his all to finally get the upper hand. But at one point, he finds out the hard way that he has no chance against this giant man. Just before Iha can deliver the final strike, Shun gives up. Iha can't believe the match ended before it even began. Yet he is still declared the winner, and the fans online are already joking that he didn't even try while his opponent surrendered like a pathetic dog. Footage of the fight spreads across every screen, and social media fills with cheers. At that very moment, the principal flew into a rage and screamed because Shun had given up. He warns that Shun will lose all help unless he pays back what he owes. But Shun shuts him up with just one quick move. He holds his shoulder and says plainly that he gave up to stop getting hurt, warning the fat man that you can't force people to be strong with threats. The principal pauses before quietly agreeing, looking shaken by the intimidation. The tournament's top 4 finalists are finally named, and Iha's school takes over with 3 of the 4 spots. The principal can't hide his excitement, already picturing Iha's teacher getting promoted for raising such amazing kids. Just as Iha walks up, grabs his match, and once again steps into Group A. Right in front of him, a strong girl steps up and pulls out the exact same thing. That settles it. The semi-final showdown is locked in, pitting Ihi against Lu Qing. The whole arena explodes with excitement as fans cheer for the biggest fight we've seen yet. Lu Qing held the mighty power of a divine phoenix, and since she easily crushed a top-tier rival, it was plain to see just how overwhelming her strength truly was. Fans also worship Ihi's mighty thunder beast powers. When both fighters step forward in the semi-final arena, the referee blows the whistle to start the match. My guy steps up and kicks off the whole thing. Seeing his show of power, Lu Qing keeps his head cool and stands tall. All she wants is for him to be strong enough to push her to the edge. The commentator can't see Jack through the swirling dust, so he's having a hard time describing what's going on. We skip straight to his secret thoughts, where he suddenly realizes she holds more power than he imagined. Her skills far outshine most of his enemies, so knowing the danger of a long fight, he lets his body burst with power and rushes straight at her to strike first. Lu Qing gathers her strength to fight back just as Ihi rushes toward her. Just as it seems all is lost, he suddenly twists into a wild spin to strike her out of nowhere. She reacted instantly to block the move just in time, only to find she was caught off guard by the surprise itself. My guy jumps again, slamming a hard punch straight into Lu Qing's face so she can't dodge or fight back, and after this wild back and forth, she decides to go for real by waking up the nether bird power inside her, making her eyes shine with danger as she warns Yi that she might lose control of her strength. He isn't bothered because that's the victory he was waiting for. And now that he's finally ready to fight with all of his strength, he explains that he's been holding back most of his power this whole time. Lu Qing dives at full speed to strike him down. He lets out a roar, his muscles bursting with power as he pushes back with a sudden, explosive burst of strength. When they clash, the force of their hit sends a jolt through the whole arena. The crowd covers their eyes as the explosion spreads out around them. Meanwhile, the girl can't believe her eyes as she sees a huge power wrapping around our boy. After getting ready, Ihi shoots a tight beam of energy from his mouth that slices straight across the arena in a line that can't be stopped. Lu Qing steps up to meet the beam, and when it hits her, she twists her magical feather to turn the blast away. The energy flies out in every direction, with some of it heading straight for the crowd. But a strong barrier soaks up the crash before it can ever touch ordinary folks. It turns out the barrier was created by Huang Qing, the mayor of An City. After witnessing that explosive fight, he shouts that the mightiest guardian in An City's history is finally being born today. On the battlefield, blood pools on the ground around Lu Qing, who stands tall despite her broken body, knowing she cannot defeat him after his single strike shattered her strongest defense, as the heavy burden of her family's legacy and childhood struggles suddenly crashes back down on her. Her family had pinned all their dreams on her. She still hears her mother's icy voice warning that winning was the only way out. It was the only path she'd ever known, while Ihi stood there completely unbeaten. Lu Qing refuses to accept her loss and makes one last desperate leap, but the guy catches her in midair, hits her again, and keeps driving her into the ground until she finally breaks. Suddenly, the sleeping power inside her jumps awake, and as she completes her final change, her wings spread wide in the sky, shining bright with both lightning and purple fire. He watches with a calm smile, then throws his own powerful moves right back at his foe. He unleashes his most powerful move, blending his fighting strength with raw elemental power into a single, explosive force. From that moment on, he darts toward her, bringing his special skill along for the ride. Their fight starts, and now both look like powerful gods battling each other. It was so fast that I couldn't even tell what was happening. While the announcer panics on the sidelines, our boy braces himself for the incoming attack and unleashes a secret power hidden in his genes. A huge golden wall suddenly erupts from the arena floor to protect our hero. When the enemy's power hits the wall, it cracks under the pressure and finally shatters into pieces. The crowd freezes in shock, fearing that if the mayor doesn't act fast, the whole arena might fall down. The man feels every bit as stiff and tense as the broken wall, watching with his eyes as his gaze follows the cracks spreading across the shattered barrier. The combined strength of He and Lu Qing crushed it in an instant. While in the arena, Lu Qing pushed herself up with blood running down her hand. Every move sends fresh pain through her limbs, yet she stays on her knees, refusing to fall. He steps forward to face the fighter who has fallen. Lu Qing lifted her head and stared at him in shock, unable to believe that her strongest attack had done almost nothing to him. He gives a final warning that the radiation is already poisoning her body and will cause lasting harm unless they act now. While Lu Qing shakes with fear and cries out in pain, begging to know why the fight had to end this way. He crouches quietly before Lu Qing, meeting her eyes with no sign of anger. He is truly inspired by her fighting spirit and decides to keep going, while she realizes she only focused on winning but now knows her love for fighting went even deeper than that. She's having a great time, and my guy is helping her recover by sharing some of his mana with her. He tells her that overthinking during the fight made her fall, so he plans to face her again in the future when she is at her best. With that, the fight is over and the announcer calls him the winner of the first semifinal. Soon enough, Chu breezes through to the final round, declaring his victory with a simple wave of his hand. The final game for Anqing High School kicks off, and the arena buzzes with tension as He and Chu stand opposite each other under the eyes of a huge live crowd. Chu pulls out his glowing sword, buzzing with angry power as he gets ready to strike. He just smirks, showing no worry at all. Chu lunges forward with a spinning blade that splits into 7 copies, charging at our hero while He gathers power around him to strike back. When He's explosive fist crashes into the blade, the blast throws debris everywhere, showing Chu that this brute's simple, heavy force will break any defense he tries. With close fighting no longer possible, he decides to attack from afar to tire out his foe. Power surges through him, shaping a massive, ferocious dragon made pure of raw force. The dragon lets out a mighty roar and lunges straight at He with all the force a charging beast could muster. Chu taps into his bloodline power and unleashes a freezing ice pulse that rushes across the battlefield in a sudden, chilling wave. Suddenly, jagged spikes of ice shoot up from the ground to build a towering mountain that traps He inside, while Chu's face breaks out in sweat as his powerful energy starts to wear him down. Moments later, the ice starts to melt, and a bright flash of golden and blue light bursts from deep inside, sending a shockwave through the stage as He breaks free and tears the mountain apart, only for Chu to brace himself and try another ice move aimed at a huge crystal right at our boy. Before my guy even gets to hit, he makes that attack completely useless. Still catching his breath, Chu asks himself what his chances are to win the match. He smiles calmly and brushes off the odds, saying they're just as likely to happen as a stray cat finding a home. Chu raises his hand and surrenders without a second thought, just like any sensible person would. It's all over. He is crowned the champion of the Anqing High School final battle. The stadium roars with cheers as the He fans cheer on their hero who just won. He stands tall in the center of the stage, soaking up the crowd's energy as his name rings out from every corner of the arena. Big screens all over the city show his face to a cheering crowd as the live broadcast of his victory makes him famous overnight. Soon, everyone started calling him the greatest champion Anqing has ever known. As the host steps up to crown Yi the champion after 3 grueling days of fighting, a reporter rushes over to ask how the once broken kid climbed to the top. He thanks his teacher for standing by him when things got hardest. Standing at the edge of the stage, the principal shouts for him to show some appreciation too. He shouts out a $2 million scholarship to honor Yi's success, and Yi jumps at the offer, thanking the school and the principal right away. He feels proud and believes his hard work made this win happen. Soon after, a new alert flashes across his screen, revealing a hidden reward for winning the tournament, and when he steps outside the quiet stadium, he is immediately surrounded by a chaotic crowd of reporters, students, and camera crews flooding the hallway with lights and questions. Several students shove forward with strange pictures and weird questions, so Yi grabs the chance to burst through the doors and yell that he has no time for this nonsense. He slips into the basketball gym, shaking the crowd, and feels the tension melt away as he realizes he can unlock other template abilities, so he's no longer stuck with just one. Before he can think about it more, a man steps out of the dark to tell him he won the tournament. He at first thinks the man is just another reporter, but the man quickly proves he isn't. He steps forward and tells us he's linked to Hwadu University and is here to talk about something called genetic locking. Of course, my guy gets a little alarmed after hearing this term, since he built all his power from monster templates and never touched the system's genetic locking tech. The man then asks if Yiha learned that word from his father, who was just a regular taxi driver. Yiha nods in agreement, but the man reveals secret papers proving the details don't match his father's history at all. There is more to this tale than meets the eye, with secrets lurking just beneath the surface. He slides an envelope to Yiha and whispers that it holds the key to his strange case. Yiha lifts the lid and suddenly stops dead in his tracks, wide-eyed at what he sees inside. Inside you can see a picture of a godlike figure named Prometheus, and the papers prove he is linked to a top-secret national biotech project that has never been told to the public. Yiha finally realizes what the stranger knows. His dad was a scientist on the Prometheus project, and Yiha himself is the result, a fact confirmed when the man says he's now a top national priority under full government protection with a promise to reveal the truth about his own identity. Of course, my guy plays along and responds accordingly because fame always brings trouble, so he'd rather be left alone. Once the guy leaves, Yiha goes right back to what she was doing. With his spot at Hwadu University officially secured, he's celebrating the big scholarship and cash prize he just won. Most importantly, he eagerly activates the system to claim the special drawing ability he earned for passing the exam, and a glowing, light-filled portal instantly opens up before him. As energy swirls around the vortex, a towering mechanical giant rises that the system flags as a D-rank superhuman. At an astonishing 60 meters tall with a mere 1% fusion chance, the reveal leaves Yiha speechless as he instantly realizes that combining the supergiant with the Demora template could unleash a truly devastating force. A terrifying shape emerges from the system, a wild mix of two monster forces that towers high, rages with fury, and glows with endless energy. Meanwhile, a shadowy big boss suddenly cancels every single appointment he had planned for that day. He just says that personal issues need to be handled. The investigator in the hazmat suit told the big shot that no bodies were found in the ruins, but some pieces of the victim were recovered near where the last signal was sent. Tests show nuclear radiation and a huge explosion, so it looks like that masked guy is hunting our boy. The big shot won't let his brother risk anything, especially since their mother begged him to keep his sibling safe, and even though he watched Yiha win the tournament, he's sad that his little brother won't be able to go to college. Back at Yiha, he holds a strange package, turning it over and opening it carefully while wondering if what's inside will help him on his secret journey. He opens the envelope to find a handwritten letter that tells him about an ancient treasure just discovered in the land. The details left him stunned, and he stared at the letter in disbelief, surprised that anyone still wrote by hand in this day and age. As the sun dips below the horizon, Redwood Mountain in a city burns with a golden glow, while a sea of thousands has gathered at the trial site, holding their breath for the secret realm event to begin. Among them, Chu steps up to greet Yiha with bold confidence. Yiha watches him closely, seeing that he looks much stronger now, and then curiously asks which college Chu plans to apply to. When the guy replies that he'll go to Hwadu University, it seems they might end up at the same school, but Yiha notices a quiet sadness in Chu's eyes. Suddenly, a booming voice echoes across the mountains to get everyone's attention, just as a giant tear in the sky starts to split open. The rift throbs wildly as a huge shadowy beast with many heads begins to crawl out of the darkness. High above Redwood Mountain, a giant monster hangs in the sky, leaving everyone on the battlefield staring up in shock. As the air grows heavy with fear, the red-haired warrior steps up to lead the group, shouting for them to slay the demon and rush straight into the hidden realm. Before anyone can even blink, the battle starts, and the poor creature realizes way too late that charging into such a crowd was the worst idea he ever had. Deep within the hidden world of Redwood Mountain, Yiha and the others are making their way through the wild landscape. As Yiha walks, he suddenly smells a strong, metallic scent hanging heavy in the air. At the forest's edge, a swarm of twisted monsters bursts out and charges at us from every direction. The moment the group gathers, a sharp command is shouted to take out the monsters before dealing with anything else. The fighters answer instantly, slashing and blasting away at the swarm with their blades and energy. While the warriors slash at monsters on every side, Chu fights right alongside them. Just as a monster is about to strike, our hero saves the day, and Chu turns to see a dozen beasts turned into piles of melted bones and smoke nearby. He freezes in shock when he realizes Yiha is the one who killed all those creatures. It turns out he's been secretly wiping out the monsters by blasting their cells with powerful nuclear strikes that leave no trace behind. The watchers can't believe how fast and huge the clearing is. Some doubt that a high school student could be this powerful, but others remember the strength shown on live broadcast and realize how exceptional the top candidates truly are. While Iha and his team stand ready, power radiating from their bodies as they hold their formation. After we finally beat the beast leader and drove the monsters away, my guy went crazy and grabbed every stone he could find, so his friend Shu gave him a magic ring to carry them all, but just then the powerful warrior leader of the beast team came back. The survivors feel a wave of relief when they see the big shot has returned. If the big guy hadn't stepped in, things would have gone way wrong, so he turns to our guy and says hello. Wu San from the In-City Silver Wolf Group was so amazed by our boy's performance that he immediately offered him an S-rank contract to join their elite squad. The deal comes with top university support and amazing perks, leaving everyone watching in total shock because offers like this are almost unheard of even for the best students. Before he can even reply, a girl rides up on a black flame beast to tease Wu San for showing up early to snatch up all the best options. She even invites He to join their inner circle with a massive offer of 15% of their monthly gains. A deal so generous that the shocked crowd can't believe their eyes. But he politely turns down both offers, making it clear he isn't interested in joining any teams just yet. Even after being turned down, he shakes hands with both representatives to keep the chance for working together alive. Now that the beast tide has been pushed back, He and Chu turn their focus to searching for new lands. They spring up into the air to look over the land while the woods spread out below them. The two climb to the top of a giant red tree to look out over the huge land below. Suddenly, Chu notices something odd. Towering over the land like mountains are giant creatures far in the distance. While Chu is getting nervous, my guy is getting excited after seeing those huge men. He keeps scanning the land with his life force radar, mapping out where all the living creatures are, and while most of the forest buzzes with life, a huge empty spot in the southeast looks so strange that he knows something big must be hiding there. Knowing that smoke means there's a fire, he rushes towards Stud Lake without a second thought. After a short time, he spots Sister Yulia standing right there in the woods. A girl stands with her two teammates as he approaches to ask how long they've been in the realm, and she replies that they just arrived and have only been checking out the lake so far. Yu Yang suddenly shoots out of the water. The man shouts with excitement that they've struck gold, saying he found something under the lake. He tells the others that ancient ruins lie below the surface, and the group cheers together. He, startled by the energy in Chu's voice, asks what kind of ruins could cause such a reaction, and Chu explains that within secret realms, these crumbling remnants of lost civilizations often hide powerful knowledge, ancient techniques, and treasures from the past. Chu adds that many modern martial arts and tech started from these discoveries, but Yu Yang suddenly spots us and looks angry until Yuli calms him by reminding him we won the last city trials. With strength far beyond the norm, they are perfect for the team, but Yu Yang watches them closely before demanding to know how the ruin spoils will be split, and he argues that rewards should match contributions so those who give more get a bigger share. Yu Yang grudgingly agrees to team up but warns them not to cross the line. With their plan ready, they plunge into the water and swim together toward the ruins, sliding into a glowing cave where crystal formations hang from the ceiling like icicles and bounce their light across the walls to guide the team forward. As they stare into the dark cave chamber past the narrow corridor, Yu Yang spots his friend Li gone from the entrance, though another thinks Li might have dashed ahead on his own to find treasure. Yu Yang yells for Li but hears nothing, so Chu worries about monsters in the dark ruins while a girl explains that their safety bombs found no beasts. Yet she fears they should turn back now that Li has simply disappeared. Yu Yang rages and screams that they must press on, declaring that luck lies ahead for anyone brave enough to keep moving while only cowards dare to turn back. The ones scared to take a chance can walk away now, but the rest have to keep going, and as soon as he speaks, the whole room goes quiet. With no one willing to leave, everyone stares deep inside their own hearts and starts crawling through the glowing tunnel one careful step at a time. As they plunge deeper, our boy feels danger closing in but has no time to stop and figure out what's coming. Danger is already here, because he realizes that Yu Yang and Li finding this hidden spot in the huge underground cave was too perfect to be chance, meaning they walked right into a trap. Even so, Iha doesn't give in. He smirks with the quiet confidence of a player who still holds his best card. The group steps into a huge underground room where creepy green vines creep along the walls and pulse with power, revealing twisted skeletons caught in their grip as proof of a past massacre, including the ghostly remains of Li's body, reduced to just bones. The group is so stunned by what they just saw that Yu Yang falls to his knees. It wasn't just the missing relic that stole their heart, but Li's life as well. But right then, the same power that vanished Li begins to swallow him, and he screams at everyone else to run. Before he could speak again, green vines burst from his head in a gory explosion. He dies instantly as the very demonic vines that struck him grab his body and fling him straight up, skewering him in midair. My guy steps up, shatters the body into tiny pieces, and then the trouble only gets worse. It just so happens that the demon beast is cleverer than we thought. They caught 2 warriors and used Yu Yang as a perfect lure to draw in more prey, but by now it's too late since they walked straight into the trap. The cave trembles as giant vines crash down to block the tunnel, trapping them because the beast refuses to let them run. Chu decides to teach the clueless lady that their enemy is a second-stage ghost vine demon beast, based on everything they've seen. Its power and cunning make it far deadlier than any normal threat. So Yuli's eyes go wide with shock because a king-level beast is something none of them are ready to face. My guy isn't worried about the rules at all. He doesn't care what the monster is, only that he's going to smash it into pieces. The ground trembles under his power as he strikes for the first time. Just then, a fierce man storms into the room, his powerful presence demanding everyone's attention. Our boy spots a mountain giant who looks like the same guy from his past, and explains how he tracked Iha using radiation left in the hills, sneaking past stone walls and broken tunnels to follow him into the cave without being seen. Now that he's back to end what started long ago, the one who once slipped past their trap is finally close enough to reach, while Iha looks at the angry man rushing at him and acts like he doesn't even know who he is. The man screams in fury and charges forward without thinking. Suddenly, while he is charging, hidden vines spring up from the ground and wrap around him. He realizes too late that he walked right into the ghost vine demon's trap, his fear overtaking his anger as he screams that the demon is hunting him, perhaps because he planned this whole time, while Iha warns the brute that these vines can suck up his spiritual energy and rage. Then the man fires a huge burst of power across the whole field. Yulia looks over the fight and sees cracks forming on the cavern walls as the pressure builds. The ceiling is crashing down as their power grows too strong, and she screams for everyone to run before the whole cave collapses. Iha gathers all his power and shoots a spinning beam straight up into the ceiling. The blast shatters the stone, sending pieces of rock falling from the sky. While chaos erupts around them, Iha tells Yulia and the others to run for safety as he stands his ground to hold back the monster. The fiery attacker lets out a roar, refusing to back down. Right as the enemy rushes forward, a sudden flash of ice shoots across the field to stop them. Our friend Chu steps up, gripping his sword tight to stop the enemy in their tracks. The attacker laughs and mocks the defense, bragging about his 8th-stage martial artist title, but my guy doesn't care about fancy names. Instead, he charges his fist with lightning and lands a sudden atomic explosive fist that flashes blue light and shakes the ground, after which Ihi tells Chu to fall back and admits the difference in their ranks. The opponent is tough, but Ihi steps forward alone to face him and tells everyone else to let him handle it. After a while, everyone but our hero and Chu finally climbed out of the lake, but right as he worried about his partner, a huge blast of blue energy erupted from the water and spat out a giant mutant creature. Whatever it was, I don't care, because I know for sure that that arrogant jerk got thoroughly cooked. A short while later, Ihi comes back, looking like a normal person again. He jumps out of the lake right as his teammates run toward him. After settling onto the ground, he confesses that the guy who rushed in was carrying a plasma bomb. After the blast claimed both the foolish man and the vain monster, the teams went their separate ways, and he promised Yuli they would pay him back when they finally left the secret realm. Now both boys are on their own, working non-stop to gather every last bit of treasure they can find. After their adventure, they head back to the appraisal center. He thumps his bag onto the counter, while the receptionist warns him to be careful with the treasure he's found. If he gets hurt, he won't get anything back. He says sorry and starts putting the bags on the counter without any rush. Every single one is packed with supplies, and they keep piling up one after another. By the time he sets the last bag down, the receptionist stares in shock, too stunned to keep up. She pauses to see if he has finally unloaded everything. He gives a knowing smirk, tells her to start the math, and reminds her that plenty of spirit medicines are still waiting to be checked. Soon, a crowd gathers around Ihi as they spot the rare herbs he's holding. The crowd is left speechless by how rare and precious these treasures are, while my guy quietly sorts through his stash, thinking about how to sell off the weaker magic cores. Finally, after all the back and forth, his account gets credited with 27 million yuan from the sale. My guy walks out of the center, ready to sell the spirit herbs he just appraised. Suddenly, a fancy car pulls up right in front of him. An older man, the owner of Ping Pharmacy, steps out to welcome He, shares that he heard about the herbs He brought in, and offers to buy them for more than their market value. He instantly knows someone from the appraisal center tipped them off, but he doesn't care since the eager buyers came to him and the price was perfect. Once the deal is done, the fancy car speeds off, and the man tells him to call again whenever he needs more spirit herbs. He glances at his phone to find a massive deposit waiting, so with his new funds in hand, he stops wasting time on weak market herbs and starts plotting his next big move. If he wants to get stronger, he must invest his next move in raw power, since the resources for a big breakthrough are out of reach, but a different path opens up that doesn't need money. He decided to train in martial arts and headed off right away with that goal in mind. The heavy doors to the principal's office at Anqing No. 1 Middle School swing wide open. Inside, a warm drink is handed out to set the stage for a serious and polite talk. The principal welcomes He with a warm smile and can't help but be pleasantly surprised to see him. He handed over a small gift from Ping Pharmacy, insisting it was just a thank you note rather than a bribe. And then, with the principal feeling humble and the money settled, he spoke plainly about what he needed. Since he hasn't started university yet, he can't turn to his clan for help, so he hopes the school will find him a powerful martial arts teacher. But the principal says to wait until classes begin when better training resources will be available. But he won't wait. He wants to get stronger right now, so the principal thinks for a second, sees the fire in him, and agrees to help by making all the arrangements. The next afternoon, he wiped sweat from his brow after a hard training session. His phone rings with the update that everything is ready, so he thanks the principal and asks which martial arts family is willing to take him in. When he hears the answer, he freezes in shock that the Liu family of Anqing has finally agreed to share their secret techniques with him. Outside Anqing, a motorcycle roars down the road at breakneck speed. The girl on the back is having a blast, while the driver, who looks like a playboy, is ready to show off even more power. Our boy is pedaling hard just to keep up with the bike flying ahead of him. He warns the lovers to ride slow because speed can kill, but the biker feels humiliated when he sees another rider going way faster, so he decides to go full speed to prove he is the boss and zooms ahead, leaving his rival far behind. Before the rider could get a taste of his own victory, my guy used his special powers to zip right past the other guy at a speed any normal bike couldn't hope to match. The riders freeze, staring forward in shock, unable to believe what they just saw. In moments, he reached the gates of the Liu family's home. He pauses to soak in the awesome sight of the giant building rising before him. His radar just found a group of tough guys living here. As you walk up to the big house, a girl steps into view. Liu Qing smiles when she greets him, but she gets serious the moment he tries to tease her, so she turns and starts walking away. As they step into the grand mansion, Liu Qing shouts that he has arrived, prompting her mother to rush down the stairs to welcome the young man. She is undeniably beautiful, but the sheer power in her presence makes the air itself stand still. She steps up to greet he, introducing herself as Qin Lan, the head of the Liu family. Then the story jumps back to the past. After the college entrance exam, Liu Qing stands nervously before her mother, who gently interrupts her to tell her not to be scared. A big screen nearby shows he's exam performance, and the woman watching closely praises her daughter for doing so well even though she lost. She then talks about her little brother. The mother tells her son he isn't talented enough to lead the family forward, leaving Liu Chang as the only hope, while also seeing her daughter's wisdom, beauty, and strength as the final chance for them. The Liu family stands on a razor's edge with their father gone, so their fate now depends on forming strong new partnerships. She doesn't even blink before suggesting we marry her daughter to our boy. After all, he's strength, talent, and noble blood make him the perfect match. She knows he is more than just a rising star. He is a true match for the Liu family, so she asks her daughter to spend some time with him and see the bright future he promises. Right now, at the Liu family gate, he bows and gives a gift to Liu Cheng's mother, who welcomes him with a warm and kind smile. She tells us the principal approved he's request to learn advanced martial arts, so she confirms the plan and orders Liu Chang to take him under his wing. He is being led to the Liu family's training hall, where the family rules give him just one day to practice his skills before he must leave. She says there are 3 amazing fighting styles hidden deep inside the pavilion, and he can only learn them if his own talent is good enough. He bows once more to thank the whole Liu family instead of just one person, and Liu Cheng's mom quietly nods, impressed by how smart and calm he stays under pressure. While the girl watches, puzzled by how her mom suddenly looks so interested in she leads him through a long, dark tunnel without saying a word, guiding him straight to the martial pavilion. As they walk, he tries to cheer up with a teasing joke, which makes Liu Chang stammer in denial, only for him to lean in too close, causing her to react with annoyance and embarrassment. We all know why she's embarrassed. The poor girl just can't stop thinking about the day he'll finally be her husband. So they arrive at a massive sealed gate made of a rare, super strong material built to withstand powerful martial arts strikes. He stares at the stone, curious if he can just hit it straight away, while Liu Chang looks at him with a mix of confusion and disbelief that the fool isn't impressed by how tough the rock actually is. Before he can wait, he throws a glowing blue punch packed with martial energy, but just as it's about to hit, Liu Qing freezes because the sight and power bring back painful memories she'd rather forget. He doesn't stop there. He follows up with another blast, sending a fresh wave of blue energy right into the gate. The shockwave spreads through the air, yet the stone stays solid and unbroken. Lu Qing let out a quiet laugh at his failure, while the confused man beside him felt his energy simply vanish into the void. She leads him deeper into the scroll library until they reach the secret vault holding powerful techniques. Before he moves on, he's told he can pick any technique and unlock it with his identity card. But the girl warns that learning something that advanced in one day is nearly impossible, so she suggests he start with the basics first. He playfully teases her again, making her stumble with a shy and flustered reply. No matter what, she types in the code and opens the locked vault where the techniques are kept. When the room opens up, we spot tiny vaults holding all the secret techniques. She tells him that mastering the Xian Huang martial arts isn't about force, but about listening to the hidden rhythm beating within his own body. If he doesn't feel the martial arts, he can never learn them, because Xian Huang styles are alive and grow with his touch. The art doesn't pick its students. The students pick the art, but the art is the one that truly chooses who belongs. After some time, he sat down under a statue that seemed to glow with its own light. All he needs to do is stand in this light pouring out of the statue, but to understand why, we have to go back a bit to when the girl taught him that Xian Huang martial arts aren't found on scrolls but are carved into stone, tools, and vessels that hold the power of the past, proving that true legacy isn't written down but built into the very things we touch. Lu Qing says that only a real master can shape martial intent into a lasting object. So the next move is up to him, and the young man pauses before lying flat on the floor. Lu Qing watches his tricks unfold on the screen with a look of pure boredom. Inside the chamber, our boy discovers that this martial rhyme is a spiritual realm where he has lost his powers, a fact even the system confirms. Suddenly, the statue behind him springs to life to tell his guest that only those with true strength and will can master martial power. He needs proof of his strength, resolve, and the courage to walk the martial path. So the old man sends He to guard the temple from the hundreds of ghosts that roam there every night. As the water drops started falling, the trial began. As red demonic ghosts swarm the area, He channels his power and charges straight into the wave with his blade drawn. He keeps cutting down the ghosts on both sides like it's no big deal. While the statue stands silent and sneers at how weak and clumsy today's fighters have become, I keep right on doing my job. Just as a ghost jumps on him, he finds he's completely unharmed. Even the silent statue watching from the corner has to admit what it sees, and trust me, baby, those ghosts can't hurt our boy a bit. It turns out his system is secretly shielding him from those spiritual beings. Within minutes, the bro wipes out every ghost with his brilliant golden power, leaving the statue stunned, and then he steps forward to dive into the well right in front of him. The well in front of him holds more than just light. It is a deep pool of the old master's life force, filled with centuries of gathered power, and inside lies a forbidden move called the devil in the flesh. If he can survive the process, he might finally learn to use the new power inside himself. Thinking it through, he leaps right into the deep. Watching from above, the observer tenses up at the sight of someone entering so boldly and without fear of the risk, something never seen before. Inside the well, He's mind is ripped away, and he stands before a terrifying multi-headed beast, feeling his blood boil and bones twist as the demon technique tears through him. Back in the control room, Lu Chang stands quietly beside her mother, watching our boy undergo the process while the girl loses her mind trying to figure out what's happening with him. Her mother is starting to catch on, and that secret third martial art, hidden away in the vault since Lu Cheng's grandfather first found it by luck, is about to change everything. No one in the family had ever learned it because the technique demanded they endure so much pain that even her grandfather lacked the guts to try. If he really takes on the full weight of that power, he has a will stronger than most and must be ready to pay whatever price it costs. Right then, my guy wakes up yawning and stretching like he just went for a casual Sunday stroll. Against all odds, he has made it through the trial. He turns to the statue to thank the elder and speak his gratitude to the ancestors who created the technique. Even though his basic numbers stay the same, he proves that learning the move has doubled his fighting power. Moments later, Lu Chang and her mother walk into the room, still trying to make sense of what they just saw, as Lu Chang stares him down and asks if he really finished the move. He gives a relaxed nod and lets everyone know he got it done. Her mother can't find the words to say that he finished a technique that had defeated every family member for generations in less than an hour. While he brags and Lu Chang watches him silently, knowing she is a genius, but he is on another level, he turns back to the group to show off his power. Suddenly, blue and red energy burst from his body like a storm, and as he drew power from his inner world, Lu Chang felt a dark presence buried within it that echoed with trapped demons. Her mother stares in awe and praises Yi's amazing strength. I won't lie, mommy really looks turned on. Lu Chang then suggests he spend his remaining time in the vault learning the last few techniques. Even though the mom is sad about her daughter and tells her not to marry the guy, she keeps giving him huge family money for no good reason. But surprisingly, Iha refuses to train more, saying the last move drained him and he has other duties to handle. Lu Cheng's mom agrees to his choice and tells her daughter to walk him home, then casually mentions a rumor that he rode in on a bicycle earlier, so she offers to open her garage for him to pick any fancy car he wants. But he, thinking of that cool Hayabusa couple, decides to grab a heavy bike for himself too. After Hayabusa's bike was lost in a crash, we cut to him walking down the road on foot. It turned out he was the disappointing brother Lu Cheng's mom had talked about, until a fancy motorcycle roared past the gate kicking up dust, proving it was our boy. The young man outside stops in his tracks, shocked to see the very same person racing on his bike right in front of him. He is back at his boy's place and has set out a wild dish. A bowl of glowing spirit crystals served with sauce and chopsticks, looking just like a normal meal. He grabs a glowing blue piece, pops it into his mouth like a regular snack, and doesn't even blink. The moment he swallows the stone, his power surges, but he isn't satisfied, so he dumps every single point into a massive shape-shifting upgrade to make himself huge. He moves forward and grabs a glowing demon heart to eat it. The moment he acts, energy bursts out of him like a sudden spark. His system offers him the chance to change his Demora form, and now he must decide if he wants to go ahead. He pauses to think, then presses the key, hoping it does exactly what he needs. After finishing the procedure, he unlocks a new monster called Star Universe Demora, which can randomly appear if the Savage Trace Demora hits full sync and gets lucky. My guy cheers at the good news, but to finish his rise, he must drive his current form to the very limit, knowing that the only way ahead is to grow faster, just as a sudden, earth-shaking boom outside warns that his time to fall is finally here. Outside Iha's apartment, a huge crowd of police cars blocks the street while armed officers keep people safe and send them away. Just then, a knock on our boy's door breaks the silence. Iha realizes the body's original owner never had friends like this, and since no one was supposed to arrive, something is very wrong. Right then, he spots a tall, sharp, and deadly intruder sitting right over the apartment window, hinting at her plan to hide an item there and swap the host's memories before she leaves. Now that he sees through her sneaky tricks, the plan shifts, and he needs to be dealt with. So my guy stands tall without fear and calmly delivers the news that she's already doomed. Down on the street, a squad of officers run headlong into a fight with a single man named Joe. With everyone watching, Joe is doing his best to stand tall. Feeling too confident, he activates the forbidden blood-burning trick, but he's quickly brought down to earth when my guy drops from the sky to take on that strange woman. Her nano battle suit is burnt black, showing that our boy is really pummeling her. It turns out the two weirdos are partners in crime, and the woman whispers to her accomplice that she's hidden the prize, so they must make a quick getaway. Just as the police rush to grab the criminals, a smoke bomb explodes, filling the street with thick white fog that lets the targets vanish into the sewers before anyone can see them again. Just as they think they've finally shaken off the danger, my guy shows up, and Iha demands to know why the lady who broke in still hasn't explained herself. Joe yelled at our boy, asking how he found us when even the best soldiers couldn't. But he doesn't owe them an answer, because our boy could already feel the heavy, dangerous energy radiating from the woman. When it's time to strike, he says nothing and blasts forward like a speeding missile. His fist slams into Joe, sending a shockwave that hurls the man into the concrete wall, shattering it into a cloud of dust. That woman, Ime, gasps in shock as she sees Joe tossed around like a rag doll, knowing that no one should ever be thrown like that, which means the person training him can't be normal, especially since he just told her he's the disciple of Emperor Guangla, a name she has never heard before. That's when the unconscious guy wakes up, turns into a terrifying alien warrior with a fancy title, and becomes someone you can't ignore. When a tough opponent makes our hero smile, a large woman tries to sneak up on him from behind, but before she can get close, he blasts an energy beam straight at her without even turning around. The force slams her out of hiding and hurls her across the room. Seeing that big woman knocked out like yesterday's trash, her partner Joe throws a devastating punch. After everything, their fists smash together with a loud, shaking crash. He feels the enemy's attack hitting him with a strength so great he can't ignore it. In the next scene, our boy is gone, leaving his opponent totally confused. Then he bursts back into view as a towering giant, ready to smash that guy flat with a mighty swing. The moment he throws that punch, you can just picture what a terrible fate awaits that poor guy. The big booba stood there in total awe, wishing he'd never messed with our boy. The money she earns can't even cover this, so with no other choice, she screams and charges at our boy to wrap her deadly strings around his giant head. This tiny blade ripped straight from the nano armor and is sharp enough to slice through steel. The moment she pulls the threads tight, the humanoid's head vanishes into thin air. Just as she believes she has won, a huge beam of energy suddenly hits her and might destroy her completely. My guy walks up to the injured bastard, covered in blood and beaten up, and since he's gonna die anyway, he decides to take Ihi down with him, right before revealing the golden gene that the woman Yaoi Mei hid in his room. Now that it's his, many will come after him, making He's end unavoidable. My guy shuts the bastard's trap with a solid kick to the face, killing him on the spot. He knows help is coming and all the noise he made won't go unnoticed. So he heads back to his apartment, chatting with Lu Cheng's mom, who is happy to learn the police aren't thinking he did it. He then turns his focus to the golden gene, the very thing those guys were talking about. When he looks closer, he spots the same famous emblem he once saw in a file about Prometheus from a man named Huadu. He saw that the two men who stole from Laserbird were being chased, so now he was stuck dealing with their mess too. Deep in the hidden inner zone of Swan Lake, a group of tough fighters has caught a team of fierce blood wolves in the middle of their hunt. As the captain tears open the blood wolf's belly to grab its glowing heart, a deep rumble shakes the forest as thousands of monsters stampede toward the sound. What they see next pins them to the spot, as an endless wave of beasts tears through the forest and swallows everything in its path. The show's biggest moment features a terrifying giant called the Sovereign-class Sin Wolf. Spotting the monster sparking the chaos, the adventurers turned and ran, knowing that with such a powerful beast marching toward an city, the town wouldn't stand a chance because creatures like this rarely leave their own land. That's exactly why the secret realm of Swan Lake had remained stable for so long. But now seeing a monster that powerful here meant one thing. Something was terribly wrong. The giant ape monster screams and hurls boulders like meteors, shattering the warrior team and crushing them instantly under their weight. As alarms scream across the city outside the hidden Swan Lake realm, people freeze in fear just as the mayor's voice warns that a terrifying beast tide from the lower realm will break through in 20 minutes. The army is already moving, and everyone must rush to find shelter or get out right away. As the mayor's message reaches every warrior in the city, urging them to rise and fight, the armed police rush onto the streets to keep things under control. The government agencies go into overdrive to keep the city calm and safe. Inside the mayor's office, he rushes from one phone call to the next, doing anything he can to delay the inevitable. As soon as his secretary rushes in with bad news, he learns that reinforcements are coming too late because the city isn't the only one under attack, as beasts have now invaded many other places. Most cities are so busy dealing with their own disasters that they can't help anyone, while the few that are still standing are locking themselves up, building walls and getting ready for the worst. His voice trembles as he wonders if a Grandmaster warrior from Huado could be sent to help. Even a single chance would have been enough, but that path is now closed too, as a top-tier secret realm has suddenly appeared right next to the capital in Guangchang City. It looks like the fight for the city has begun and a hero is rushing to help, but for now, the group must fight with whatever weapons they have left. Meanwhile, far away at the Chu family's training grounds, He and Chu are locked in a fierce practice battle. Just as they step in to begin another round, a loud siren wails through the whole district. Seconds later, the phones buzz with urgent alerts ordering all students in N City to leave right away. Chu breaks the quiet and asks if He is ready to go. My guy is thrilled about the news and wants to fight the monsters himself, but Lu Qing's mom stops her from leaving just to make sure she stays safe. If she goes out now, there is no way to bring her back because the whole city's army barely numbers 30,000 soldiers, and even counting old veterans and new volunteers, they have fewer than 50,000 people in total. Facing a tidal wave of monsters that could crush ships like toys, especially with deadly sovereign beasts surging through, even the strongest masters find their limits, and since her mother says her life now belongs to the entire Lu family legacy, one wrong move means it all ends with her, but the girl refuses to accept that fate. Since our warrior clan can't stop monsters, we have no right to exist. So the brave girl rushes off to defend her city, and right after she leaves, Aunt Hong steps out to ask the mistress if our boy plans to go with her, and the mistress says he should make his own choice. In the secret realm of Swan Lake, fighters young and old pack tightly together as the beast tide returns after 20 years, and everyone refuses to run. Without a second thought, the fighters rush forward to defend their home from the monsters. At the very edge of the realm, and city's brave soldiers stand ready with their guns and cannons, forming their final shield against the enemy. Right in the middle, Huang takes charge, reminding everyone that 60% of an city's army and every skilled fighter are inside, ordered to gather intelligence and come back alive at all costs. But suddenly a soldier stumbles through the rubble, soaked in blood and barely holding on. As soon as he's spotted, medics rush forward to drag him toward the mayor, while he grips a USB drive in his trembling hand, the only record of the Vanguard's final battle. Huang pushes for answers, desperate to find out where the rest of his team has gone. The soldier lifts his head to tell them the worst news. No one survived. He warns the officers about the black ape that wiped out their whole platoon, and now the monsters are ready to burst through the gate because they are too cunning. They are purposefully hunting down the landmines hidden just outside the gate near the tower. The moment the mines go off, the world blows up and the human traps snap back to hang around their own necks. Huang bellows his command to smash the enemy before the damage spreads. And right then, Explosions rock the ground as fire falls from the sky. But the big monster boss is certain these small ones can't stand their ground much longer. We jump right into our hero, Aura, hard at work tending his crops while standing on top of the tallest building. He loves this city so much that he refuses to let it fall apart. Remembering this, he leaps from the building, activates his monster form, and dives straight into the battle. While the city begins to crumble, sky monsters dive down, fire races through the streets, and wrecked cars scatter everywhere. Chu stands on the battlefield, slashing at monsters left and right with every sharp swing of his sword. As Xiaoling joins the fight, she freezes in horror when she spots a terrifying giant that brings back all her worst memories of who this monster really is. That bastard is an elite monster who's a force you can't ignore. Chu freezes in shock as he realizes the terrible trouble they are in. Just as the monster was about to smash us with his giant fist, my guy fired a huge energy beam that knocked the beast right off its feet. Even though the blow lands hard, it isn't strong enough to take the bastard's life. The monster, now furious, slashes at the new danger while my guy stays cool and rules over the beast lying beneath him. Bro's smile is so wicked that even the monster looks confused, but in seconds he strikes with a blow so powerful that the monster vanishes into a messy pile of nothing. Chu and Xiaoling stand nearby, frozen in stunned silence. Iha turns to his friends and tells Chu to hold his ground, then heads off to help the other areas. Perched high above, he starts looking around for something much bigger to eat. Down on the battlefield, a giant monster that looks like a spiked elephant is running wild and causing trouble. The soldiers are doing their best to bring down the beast, but their guns can't stop it. A soldier flings his rifle away and screams for his men to grab their swords, sending all of them charging headfirst right into danger. Just as we feared, none of them survived, for they were all skewered on the elephant's sharp tusks, making the beast look incredibly fierce. As the last few soldiers argue over whether to run or fight to the end, the elephant winds up its mighty trunk to smash them all. Just as that happens, a blast of blue energy hits the bastard and kills it instantly. Sure, it's our boy slamming into the ground like a giant rock falling from the sky, while out there the monsters are running away and gathering in just one spot. The fighters who woke up are thrown off by the sudden retreat. One girl warns that the enemy isn't running away. Instead, they're swarming Iha from every side. Ihu, the exam's top scorer who has already proven his worth, must be protected from the monsters, so the guy with her suggests they jump into the chaos to guard him. The city's martial artists face one more test they must pass. A powerful beast has appeared and spotted Ihi. They are ready to defend in city's pride, no matter how high the price they must pay. They think they are humanity's heroes, so they must stay at the very back, forming the only line that keeps in city's people safe from the giant monsters. Mayor Huangting,